most, unless they expected this kind of dopey nerd. And again, I think there's a lot of projection that kind of happens on the internet. But so if anything, again, I've only had really positive interactions with, kind of quote unquote fans in person. And if anything, they're just wholly uneventful because, the people who venture out into the world on a daily basis and choose to say hi to some random dude that they barely know from the internet tend to be, they just want to say hi. They're just kind of average people. Number 901, Moot, will you consider going to school for an engineering degree so you can build Skynet with the implication that Fortune will rule the planet someday? Obviously. No, I mean, I definitely love to go back to school at some point. I'm actually taking on a leave of absence right now from my second college, and but I wouldn't go to engineering school. I mean, as again my lovely G detractors point out, I'm not a terribly good programmer. I'm happy that I learned that early on in my kind of quote unquote career. I mean, I would hate to be like that guy who's playing college ball and thinks he's going to make it pro and spends his entire life dedicated to a dream that he never gets to achieve, in some way, never gets to go pro with the NFL. And I think, I had a similar revelation where, I programmed when I was in my early to mid-teens and I was not particularly good at it. And instead of, which I guess, not to say, maybe you could read into this that I gave up, but I just realized again, like it wasn't a strength, that there were other people out there who were a lot more talented at programming than I am, or ever really probably would be, or at least I would have to work very, very hard to be okay at it, where there are people who, obviously programming comes very, very naturally to them, and they were just excellent at it with very minimal effort. And so I realized that, and I was like, I want to work with those people and, again, like be, support their efforts and, work with them as, a product / designer / whatever. And even if I'm not going to write code. And so again, engineering is not a strength of mine. And so I highly doubt I would go to engineering school. I'd sooner get a degree in, a soft science like anthropology, which I'm sure is going to have Paul freaking out or lit or sigh. But I think anthropology, sociology, stuff like that, history have always been a lot more interesting to me than computer science, because, I am actually, 4chan's primary server administrator along with, one other person. And so, and the architecture that we have is one that I designed. So I mean, if anything, I am a lot stronger as a sysadmin than I am as a programmer. And so that's always been fun. And again, that's something, the kind of thing that I kind of pursued as a hobby, in step with 4chan. And I don't feel the need to go to school for it. Scanning through these, this is an excellent photo. Number 936, do you collect anything? What do you plan to pursue after you step down from 4chan? I don't really collect. I mean, I have a lot of trinkets from my travels. I don't buy anything when I travel anymore because I just made the mistake when I was much younger, just like buying junk and planning to give it away to friends and just never getting around to it. Or just, again, it's coming back with like a second bag of tchotchkes, and it just was not a good idea and not a great use of my money. So whenever I travel now, I really try to bring back maybe one very small thing. For example, the last time I was in Japan, I brought back some incense and like a little charm from a temple that a Buddhist temple. So no, I mean, I don't really collect much. The thing I do collect is teacups, actually. It's pretty much the one thing I collect. I usually buy like mugs. I mean, really mugs more than teacups, but yeah, I try to I like tea a lot. I'm actually drinking a very cold latte right now. I only started drinking coffee a few months ago, and but I like collecting cups from my travels because cups are really useful. I expect I will have cups in my life forever. You can drink out of them. They look neat, and yeah, I mean, just try to get one that's kind of representative of the place I was visiting. So, why do you have such shit taste in Ava girls? 953. Fucking Uska is best girl. Fuck you. Fuck Ray. Ray fucking sucks. Like empirically, just objectively sucks. So if you don't like based Uska, then you have poor taste. Who do we have to blame now? Number 964. Will you put your shoe on your head one last time for us? Yeah, I guess I do a shoe on head maybe later today, or I'll tweet it or something at some point. Who do you have to blame now, though? Yeah, that's again a good point. I don't know. I mean, it's funny. I've thought about this over the years a little bit, just in terms of, again, with all the kind of with me kind of functioning as the punching bag, and kind of the place where all the axe grinding ends up. People get if anything breaks on the site or anything, blah blah blah. It's fuck Moot. He's a cuck faggot piece of shit. Blah blah blah. We hate him. And it's actually kind of strange. I mean, it's because it's hard to find that. I wouldn't even call it a cult of personality, but most other websites don't have that, in the sense that I imagine if you were mad at Reddit, for example, you're mad at Reddit. You're not Reddit. Their CEO left. His name was Yashan Wong, but it's like, I think the later days, they're probably, because he had a few kind of scuffles with the community. But for the most part, I mean, again, people are, I guess people get mad at Mark Zuckerberg, but for the most part, the populace is mad at Facebook, or mad at Reddit, or mad at again, the entity of the organization. And so it's pretty uncommon to have maybe outside the president, if you don't like the president, but it's not so common with internet platforms. Twitter, like with Twitter, I guess you give examples. Like, people get mad at Twitter. People don't really get mad at Dick Costello, who's their CEO, nearly as much, because Twitter is a company of again, thousands of people. 4chan is a company of none, and I was the face of that for the longest time. And so people kind of, again, chose me as kind of the embodiment of the site, for lack of kind of an alternative. So who do you blame now? I don't know. I mean, I guess you're just gonna have to blame quote unquote 4chan, whatever that is. Kind of fan out the hate over this kind of entity, this amorphous entity. Number 975. Are you afraid 4chan will turn into something you don't want it to be? Yeah, sure. I mean, I use 4chan daily. I really hope it stays similar. I think it's pretty great the way it is now. I hope that it, if it were to change, it would change for the better. I mean, I kind of left some ideas kind of behind. I mean, I did an interview, at least. Yeah, I would have loved to see a native app, like a mobile app. I mean, I use 4chan a lot on my phone now. The mobile website's way better than it used to be, but it still has a long way to improve. I sure wish that we had been able to do that. But again, people fail to account for the fact that again, a mobile app can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, or again, hundreds of hours of time. If you get somebody to do it for free, then sure, it's a big time investment. If you pay somebody to do it, it can cost a lot. When I was running my startup, I mean, we paid for the V1 of our app. It was almost $250,000 to contractors to make that app. I mean, the going rate for an iOS developer is insane. They're paid. They're worth their weight in platinum. So it's very expensive. And so again, it's a huge investment of time and energy. And again, for as much as I wanted to do a mobile app, we couldn't. And I kind of wish I'd put out a public call, and I'd planned to do that, but for various reasons that didn't happen. So I'd love to see somebody do that at some point, or do an official app in both the